Nobody tells stories anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time you were talking to someone and then they just captivated you with this amazing story, whether it was about something that they did last week, some girl they met last night, some dude that they met at the bar, and or maybe they were running away from cops, or maybe they got caught by the cops. When was the last time someone captivated you? You know, you were just sitting there having a conversation, catching up, maybe over a glass of wine, maybe over some coffee. Maybe you're just hanging out. You got 30 minutes to spare. Maybe you called them. Maybe you're on a FaceTime with them, and they just told you this story. Nobody tells stories anymore. Everyone's always got advice. Everyone's always trying to coach you. And I don't know whether this is a thing with, me just being 30 or, just like the walk of life now where you're going out less. Maybe the time for like less drunk, like events happening in your life reduces, right? All the fun memories kind of come when you're a little inebriated, right? Or it's that, or you're either talking shit about someone, right? There's got to be some type of gossip. Say what you want about some of these shows like The Real Housewives, Bollywood Wives, even all the real estate shows, right? The core of all of that stuff is that they're stories. Whether they're talking shit or they're not. The talking shit is still just a fabricated story. And some of it's a real story, but some point of it is that it's still a story. People don't tell stories anymore. Half the interactions I have nowadays is always just someone trying to coach you. Oh, last week I got my grass cut. Oh, well, you can actually get the guy, you paid $40. You can actually get the guy down the street for $25. Oh, you can, what you should actually do is you should actually wait till the summer months where it's optimal to cut the grass. Oh, you bought that car. Well, make sure you get a refine. Like nobody has stories for you. Everybody always just has this life advice. They're always trying to coach you. They're always trying to let you know, like everything has become religion for people to some extent. Everybody just wants to say, hey, this is what you could be doing. This is what, it's either advice or it's either complaining or they're reciting the news. That's what it's all become now. Everyone's always just reciting the news. Hey, how was your day today? Can you believe ICE is out there just deporting people left and right? Can you believe what's happening in Minnesota? And it's like, yo. I see the same shit you do. I'm on TikTok. I'm on X. I'm on all these platforms. I see the same things you see. So you don't need to just repeat all of that shit back to me, right? If you want to talk about it, yeah, we can talk about it. But at the end of the day, the people that you hang out with the most are the people that entertain you the most. Is it fair or not? Outside of family, right? I'm not saying you should be entertained constantly by your family. You spend the most amount of time with them. I don't expect you to be fully, captivated by every single word that comes out of their mouth. But when you're hanging out with friends, you want to be a little, entertained. You don't want the same shit over and over and over again. The last time you got to a table and someone said, yo, you won't believe what happened. You pull your chair up a little bit. You grab your glass a little bit closer because you're ready for a story. Now it's all just bullshit. And like I said, people are either reciting the news, they're complaining about some bullshit, or they got some advice for you. And so this is my public servant announcement. And don't get me wrong. I have fallen into the trap. This podcast is supposed to be about stories. It's supposed to be about fun times. It's supposed to be about laughing. But what do we do half the time? We're just reciting the news. We don't even have a fun angle on things anymore. We've just gotten to a point where we're just complaining. We're grumpy. We're angry. We have nothing to say. We have nothing to add. We have nothing to entertain with. So this is my public service announcement. The next time you catch yourself in the next 5 social interactions you're in, I want you to count the number of stories you're told. Count the number of stories you're told, and the same way, count the number of stories you tell. See what interesting story you had last week, and see something that's going on in your life. And here's the thing. Here's where people get confused is it doesn't have to be about shit in your life, right? It doesn't have to be your immediate life. It doesn't have to be someone you're dating, something that happened to your car, something that happened to your spouse's life, right? It can be other bullshit. You can say something about your aunt's divorce. It's still entertaining. That's better than you saying, oh, well, you know what? You really shouldn't be eating fried chicken every single day. You might get high cholesterol. Like, bitch, I know that. I've seen my LDL levels. The only reason I'm avoiding the doctor is because that's the only way I'll find out I have high blood pressure. Until then, I'm Schrodinger's Ajay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ajay Patel Show. My name is Ajay Patel. And first of all, I guess happy I guess we're back after a little bit of a break, but that's right. The episode that people have been waiting for, I became a dad. And before we get into that, the big thing I wanted to say was sorry for the delay. And on top of that, y'all been keeping up with this Epstein shit. This shit's kind of crazy. I'm not going to dive too much into it because I have kind of I've decided completely how I feel now, right? And this hasn't really wavered from the initial findings and all that stuff. It's just a matter of like, this thing has slowly trickled along over and over again, where it's to the point where I'm just over it. I'm just over it. Like I don't really care about what's happening in Minnesota. I don't really care about the Epstein files. At the end of the day, my big issue is this. I'm not going to do shit about it. You can tell me all the stuff that's happening in Minnesota. I'm not joining a protest. I'm not signing a waiver. I'm not signing a form. If for some reason, the government comes down to me and they say, hey, you know what, sir? You seem like a smart fella and you have a decent podcast. We want your opinion. And your vote counts right now. If you tell us to get rid of ICE, and then we'll do it. Then maybe I'll contribute. Now with the Epstein stuff, right? A little recap. This has been something that's been ongoing, and it's pretty wild that like this fool killed himself while all this shit's happening, because then there's no like source of truth, right? Eventually, I guess this guy could have just straight up just snitched. He could have just told on everyone before he went. But now it's this files thing, right? It's these files, and half the time we don't know if they're true. Half the time we don't even know if they're redacted images or redacted of something sensitive. Who are the victims? Do we protect the victims? What's the timeline of the release? Who's using this to target who? Are Republicans using this to target Democrats, vice versa? Are we trying to get Bill Clinton out of here? Is all of this just aimed towards Donald Trump? What's the truth here? Now, with this most recent batch of shit that was unloaded, it was basically, it's become this wildfire now, where people like Bill Clinton is continued to be under fire, Jay-Z. It's a handful of names that you just be like, wait, what? All these images, all these pictures, all these emails and stuff, and all of this nastiness, people are starting to understand like, oh yeah, it probably wasn't just a couple of old white dudes being nasty, right? This is a bigger thing than we even comprehended. And it was something that was going around. Maybe people weren't saying anything. People didn't have enough evidence on it. I've seen all these videos of people like actually going to Epstein's Island being like, hey, what the fuck is this? And then having to escape on boats and stuff like that. And look, it's all nasty. It's all nasty. I don't know what the fuck is actually even going to happen, though. This has been something that's been ongoing for a while. And we got to this point where nastiness got focused on in like 2020. 2020, 2021, the nastiness got focused on. Right? People really cared. People really didn't have anything to go to. People weren't going out. They weren't going to brunch. They weren't really hanging out with each other. People were wiping groceries in their garage with Clorox wipes. People were just in their houses. They had a lot of passion for things. So when a lot of this nastiness came around, a lot of it was behind the Me Too era. A lot of it was behind the Harvey Weinstein stuff, the Bill Cosby stuff, the R. Kelly stuff. There was momentum. There was a push. There was a way to get evil to the designated destination for evil. Now, in this world of, I would say almost fast media, there's nothing that can be done. And I truly do believe that. And I understand it may not be the most optimistic viewpoint of it, but there's nothing that I can see being done when a news story comes out, right? Boom, Epstein's list maybe is officially released and has all these names on it. Boom, next thing you know, hey, oh shit, Anthony Davis got traded. Oh, boom, oh shit, Billie Eilish said what at the Grammys? Oh shit, someone else got killed in Minnesota. You see what I'm saying? Just that fast. Those three stories have already come out in the last week. if not by day. The amount of news and the speed that it can travel, it just constantly tramples over the previous story. There's no time for a story to actually sit, marinate, bake, come to fruition, come to an action. And this isn't just a news thing, right? This is a totality thing in our lives, in work lives, in government, whatever it is. Unless something happens immediately. Now, let me give you some quick work advice. Instead of having this whole ideation session of like, hey, you know what should we do with our product? Let's have a vision board. Let's have a vision board and have different mirrors on the wall that we put all these ideas for. These are our stakeholders. This is what they're thinking. This is what they're doing. I'm telling you, it will be much faster and much more effective if you have that meeting turned into 30 minutes and you create a decision and you implement that decision. And then you come back and then you fix it. Same thing with this broader picture here. Yeah, I know it's crazy. I just tied work stuff to the Epstein's list, but you know what I'm saying? It's all work stuff at the end of the day. How do we get something from, hey, this is evil. These are bad people. How do we get them locked up? How do we get this theory, this scientific theory, right? We have a hypothesis. Hey, people were being nasty. Or I guess the question, were people being nasty? Hey, now I think they were. Okay, now let's find some proof. We have some videos. We have these people that could corroborate, whatever. Okay, now let's test that. Okay, is it true? You have a whole, fucking jury, all that shit. You put them all in a courtroom. Let's figure this out. But you can't. How does that even happen? The guy that's being attacked the most is the guy that's president of the United States. How do you even make this happen? Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? I don't know. A lot of people think I'm this big Trump supporter, but at the end of the day, if he's being nasty, get him out of here, bro. Get him out. I don't care. I don't care. People that are even around me, as soon as I see a little bit of nastiness, it's like, I'm good. I can't be around it. I don't want to associate with it. I don't respect that. There's been a time I had a friend dating a 15-year-old. I kind of just looked the other way and told him, hey, buddy, I don't think this is great for you. He was sleeping on park benches. It was a strange time in life. But that was my boy. I held through. I just didn't associate with him for a little bit. We took a little bit of a hiatus. He came back to reality, and I said, hey, my man, what's happening? I missed you. But at the end of the day, I just want the nastiness locked up. But my big issue is with all of this, it's turned into, how do people, right? The news has become less of a story to a conclusion, now to a story, to a reaction, to a story, to a reaction, to a story, to a reaction, to a story, to a reaction. And that's all it's become. It almost feels like people that are offended by these stories, or people that are appalled by these stories, get offended even further when the common person, myself, other peers, don't take any action about it. They want me to go through Epstein's files and go lock people up. They want you to go out and protest on the streets of these ICE riots and all that shit. How little of an impact does half this shit create? I remember being in middle school. And I think something similar was happening with this whole like ICE and deportation stuff. Give me a second. I remember we had a whole deportation thing happening when I was in middle school. And this was similar reaction. This is why I don't like it when sometimes the whole thing of like, oh, Obama also deported this many people and this wasn't the reaction. It kind of was. It just wasn't as escalated as it is because people already have this pre-hatred of Trump. And because hatred is almost glorified now. Like people, instead of telling the stories to each other, they just like to express how much they hate Trump. Truly, like that's how much it becomes. People are like, oh, can you believe that guy watches Fox News? he's Republican. That's what people sound like now. That's truly what people fucking sound like now. In middle school, half the students in the student body, right? Don't get me wrong. I went to a middle school that was literally minority white. So majority was black, Mexican. You had like 3 Indian people and then some white people. And half the student body literally didn't show up to class because they were going to protest for this deportation stuff, whether they were going to downtown Irving of City Hall, downtown Dallas. They went to protest for this stuff. What happened from it? Nothing. Nothing. There was no impact. There was no change. There was nothing that happened from it. Why? Because get your ass back in school. I don't really give a fuck about these 30 middle schoolers sitting here. Half these kids are pretty much, most of these kids are legal. What does this impact have to do with the governing policy that's happening over here? There's no impact. Now, you see impact when you see things like teachers boycotting, right? Because it's like, hey, someone's got to teach these evil ass kids. We don't want these hoes back at home. So we want your ass back in the seat. Okay, what do you want? More pay? I can't give you $100,000. How about $50,000? All right, cool. You're back at work. You have impact, right? Something is missing from the equation. You put them back in. These kids aren't going to keep skipping class. Those parents are going to whoop that ass. So boom, they're back in class. Oh, we missed it. We missed one. Teachers were probably the most happy that kids were missing school. Oh, I don't have to watch these evil ass kids for a day. I don't have to deal with these kids that are now bigger than my ass by the age of 13. They're not whooping my ass every time I'm getting on to them to shut up. Oh, they're on their phones. They're chewing gum. One time I was chewing gum and I almost got caught. I put that shit in my pocket. My pants literally had gum in it, and my parents yelled at me when I got home because I was that scared. Nowadays, these kids don't care. These kids will whoop that ass, boy. And same thing is happening now with this whole ICE stuff, obviously the Minnesota stuff. I am someone that is not necessarily anti-borders. I think you need borders. I think you need a regulated system of keeping track of who's in your country, who's coming in your country, and vice versa. The manner of how they're doing all this shit is crazy. It's crazy to me. The fact that these dudes are wearing fucking bulletproof vests, masks, they're just approaching people in whatever environment. There's no actual process to this stuff. They're almost protected by anything, and they can just do this to no matter what race. And then you see half these videos, half the brutalities, half the people getting shot in the face, and it's just like, yo, I want the original idea, but this execution doesn't feel right to me. Not it doesn't feel right to me, I disagree with it. And so all of this shit coming back to this idea that I hate that it's come to this point where people that are angry with a lot of these things expect the common person to go and do some shit about it. Sure, you can get outraged that you may not be getting the support that you're getting. But at the end of the day, we still have our individual lives. It is nothing in my responsibility to go and solve half of these issues that I don't even have an ounce of an effect on. So, with that being said, tell Billie Eilish, I've had a lot of time on my hands. And Billie Eilish at the recent Grammys had a great quote that's going around. Now, she said, no one is illegal on stolen land. Now, she's getting shat on a lot. And so here I am to add on to this shit. It's just a bit silly now. In the previous award show, she was like, if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? And you can make the same argument for why are you a millionaire. She's 24. So I really don't feel right being like, oh, well, this girl's dumb, this girl's stupid, oh, she's like I don't want to shit on someone that successful, that young, that honestly has an impact on the society as a whole with her music, her fandom. But some of this stuff has just become a little bit nonsense, right? People have lost the idea of the original thought because they see how the execution is happening. The execution gets them far, far, far away from the original thought, which is why there's support for some of the shit she's saying. A lot of the news outlets are getting on her ass because it's like, oh, well, you live on a multi-million-dollar mansion and, people can't just walk into your place. And I think that's a horrible interpretation. It's obviously like, hey, America stole this land from the natives or the Mexicans, whatever it was. So how are people illegal on it? Now, here's the take. Bring the camera a little bit closer. Here's the take that actually matters. We didn't steal anything. We beat the dog shit out of a lot of people to get this land. Have you ever heard of the Louisiana Purchase? Huh? Battle, the Alamo? Huh? What about all the shit happening in California? All we did was there was an original virus that came to America named Christopher Columbus. After that, we held the Super Bowl. And between the Super Bowl and Christopher Columbus, it was just a lot of bleeding and a lot of money. But don't get it twisted. We didn't steal anything. And that's what's wild to me. Is that, yes, was this land acquired probably a little bit brutally? Yeah, it was. But guess what? I didn't do it. I didn't kill anyone to be here. I was just born. I was just born. And then next thing you know, it was like, hey, what's 4 + 8? Hey, can you read the 3rd page of Charlotte's Web? That's what my upbringing was. I didn't go down the street and say, you know what, I'm going to take over this land. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. We didn't steal this land, bro. And even then, right? Would you rather live in America or would you rather live in Mexico? You keep the original thought, you get farther and farther away from this idea that, hey, you know what? I do like this country for most of its rules, regulations, freedom, protection. And instead, because of this one thing that's happening in this state and the execution of it and the person that's leading all of it, I'm going to throw all that away. And that's where we're just getting lost in all of this sauce. Now, then I went on too long about that. Because the meat of my conversation is this. I became a dad. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the child is finally here. We've been talking about this all along, probably for the past couple of months. We moved from LA to Houston, and we were expecting a child in late December, early January. So, we started paternity leave. We were just kind of hanging out at the house, and we finally had this scheduled induction date. Went in, boom, it happened. Now, I'm going to break this into a couple of parts because there's so much I could cover. And a lot of friends I've told, numerous stories about stories. Hello. But I'm going to break it into 3 parts. 1 being the process of it all. 2 being a little bit of like my reflections. And 3, a couple of complaints. Now, starting with the process. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it sweet. We went in for a scheduled induction. Now, we delivered Med Center Houston. It's like a jungle out there. Now, the amount of care that we got was great. And you're led to believe that these people are not professionals. They are the best of the best, right? If you want the best of the extent of knowledge in any particular area, you come to Houston. And honestly, it did feel like that. But some of the execution was just a little strange. So you go through this whole process of getting induced, you get the epidural, you try to push. Oh, pushing doesn't work. Okay, now you have to do this. The next you know, you have this kid in your hands. Now there was 2 quick moments, maybe 3 quick moments from the hospital that are like ingrained in my head. One was the decision to get a C-section. The decision to get a C-section, I'm actually working on a joke about this because of how fast Isha made a decision on this. But props to her because 1, she was a much better sport. My wife was a much better sport about getting the C-section than I was. And it's crazy because it's like, I'm not even under the knife. But that thought right there, the decision right there, or more so not even the decision, but the sequence of events to lead to that had me in this massive rage, bro. Massive rage. And I'm sitting outside this OR before the surgery and I'm just cursing to myself. Fuck. Oh, sorry. We're going to have to bleep this out maybe, but let's use a different word. Power Ranger. I'm going to use the word Power Ranger instead of the F word. Power Ranger, 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 Power Ranger. What the heck? Power Ranger, Power Ranger, Power Ranger. You do this, you do that, Power Ranger. Then you come in and you do this at Power Ranger, Power Ranger. Then you push for 2 hours, Power Ranger, Power Ranger. Then still this happens, Power Ranger, Power Ranger, Power Ranger me. That's literally what was going through my head. While at the same time, you're kind of still telling yourself like, hey, you need to be positive, right? You're about to go into this OR, this massive surgery, and you need to have a positive outlook. Positive vibes bring positive outcomes. But then I would have this mindset of being positive. The next thing you know, it would just creep back up where it's just Power Ranger, Power Ranger, Power Ranger. Now, that was one moment for me. Moment number 2 is post-delivery. When they first handed me the child, I will say, there was not this wave of emotions that just washed over me, and I felt, oh my gosh, I have this responsibility in life, and then this is who I'm going to be, and I'm going to give everything to this child. But when they put that girl in my hands, I will say, it was more so, honestly, just this feeling of shock. I'm someone that's not great with kind of like anticipating a feeling. A common, and I'm going to tie this to death, life, whatever it may be, is like when I'm told someone passes away in the family, it doesn't really register to me until the moment that I am at the funeral, right? I almost have like scheduled emotions. Same thing with like, okay, maybe I know someone's going to have a kid, but I don't have the feeling of this joy, excitement for that person until I am seeing their kid with them. I can see that mom be pregnant all I want, but until I see the actual outcome, right? Until this moment of time, this little pocket happens, that's when I feel everything. So when they first handed me her, it was kind of just like, oh shit, what is happening? This is here now. This is now. Am I prepared for this? What am I supposed to do next? Is she okay? Am I holding her right? Does she need to eat? Who's going to change this girl's diapers? How's mom doing, by the way? I'm drinking a lot of water. I wonder if this is fucking heater being on that I'm so parched, or I'm just out of training. Bro. Now, you have this child in your hand, and mom just did an amazing job in surgery, delivering this baby. And then the joy really comes when you see the family kind of interact with my wife, the mom. I'm going to keep saying the mom, and I mean my wife, right? When they start interacting with the mom or interacting with the baby, and they feel this emotion for you, right? Because in my head, I never saw myself as becoming a dad. I wanted to be a dad, but I wanted to just be a dad. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to just be placed in this moment of time in which I already have 2 kids, in which they're already decently grown up. And I'm not going through this phase. So being placed into this phase, it was this strange feeling of, oh shit, this is my life now. Oh, I'm doing the thing that everyone does. Okay, moving on. Let's get back to the what's it called? The labor and delivery room, right? They put you in this labor and delivery room, and now you're just hanging out with this kid. It's you, your wife, and this kid. And nurses are coming in. The lactation person's coming in, the baby doctor's coming, the NICU nurse coming in. All these people are just revolving through that door over and over and over again. Families coming in, you're trying to sleep where you can. And the whole hospital stay, I will say, wasn't the worst. Wasn't the worst. Like, it was kind of just like, all right, like this was fine and all, but I'm ready to go home. Like a lot of times when family would come, I would just take a quick little relief. I would go to the Chipotle downstairs. I would drive home, take a shower, come back. Like, it felt kind of chill. And it was almost like an out of sight, out of mind, where like I would leave and I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a dad. Oh my gosh, I have this responsibility. It just felt like, oh, I'm me again. It's just me. You finally leave home. We went then from there to my in-laws. You stay there for a week. And honestly, the biggest thing that I'm going to point out, and I might make a whole YouTube series on this just to support the fellas and all of this, is it hits you like a train, bro. It does hit you like a train. Unless you've had a kid before, that first kid, you can't anticipate it. No matter how much training you're doing, no matter how much stuff you have in place, as long as like, don't get me wrong, for the things that you do need in place is just diapers, bottles, maybe some formula if you need to do that, and just the core essentials. You don't need to worry about painting the walls. You don't need to worry about the 18 outfits, right? Put that baby in a swaddle, change its diaper, and throw some milk in its mouth. Or throw a titty in its mouth, throw some formula in its mouth. Throw something in its mouth. But the amount of sleeplessness is what finds your ass. Boy, let me tell you. Even the first couple nights at the hospital, where it's just like, they want you to wake up every 3 hours, maybe every 2 hours, depending on your baby's weight loss. And they want you to, feed her. They want you to wake her, him or her up, wake them up, change their diaper, and then feed. And then put them back down. Repeat after every 2 hours, and you just keep doing this. And at a certain point, you've just reached this point of delirium where, like, I'm handing her over to my wife to feed, and I'm just leaning my head on something, and I'm passing out. She calls my name to do something. I wake up, I do that, and then I'm passing out again. And I'm just passing out again. And at a certain point, I'm just seeing shit. I'm hearing things. I'm seeing mythological creatures. I'm playing dual monsters in my head, and it's just insane. Then you get back home, you maybe switch up the routine a little bit. Maybe you got to interact with a couple different people. Maybe your diet changes a bit. Maybe you got different things in different places now. Routine changes again. It hits you like another train. Now you're getting a little bit more used to it, though. You're getting a little bit more confidence. But at the same time, baby's changing. Baby's routine's changing. Baby's personality's changing. Baby's weight's changing. All this stuff's changing. So the faster you're getting along with this, with the agenda, the faster it's changing. But at the end of the day, the only thing you can tell yourself, and this may not be this, a lot of moms will disagree with me on this, but I think the fellas will vibe with me. It's just that you find a routine and you just stick to that shit. You just stick to that shit and you try to enforce that shit as long as you can. A lot of moms will say, well, that's not possible. That's not possible. It's just a baby. It's just a baby. So they should be, they could eat every 20 minutes if they want. But with that belief, then we could all just sleep with anybody. We could just be out here partying like the 80s. At the end of the day, what I think helps dudes focus the most is just a sense of structure and agenda, right? If you give them a straight up game plan and say, this is what we're going to do, they can execute that shit to the T. But if you, require them to anticipate changes and make changes on the go and have those changes align with the changes that are in your head, that's where I think some shit kind of starts up. That's where some disagreements start. That's where some bickering starts. And that's where it's just like, you've exited this flow. You got to anticipate that this guy wants a certain agenda, or just being told certain tasks. Hey, do this. Hey, do this. Hey, now hand the baby to me. Okay, now do this. And look, you're basically your wife's butler for a bit. And for the better, I'm not complaining, but it is what it is. Now then, we have now reached the 1 month stage. We have reached the 1 month stage. And the biggest moments of all of it, honestly, was probably that first pediatrician appointment. We get to this pediatrician appointment. I'm barely, swinging this car seat out the door. I'm getting inside, and you see all these people around you. Some people have a 5-year-old, some people have a 3-year-old, white, black, Mexican, Muslim, doesn't matter. Everyone's everywhere. And you feel this idea of like, and this is going to sound a little pompous, but whatever. If these people can do it, then I sure can do it. And that was one kind of just boost of confidence for me. Because like I said, this is not something that I anticipate. This is not something that I thought, man, you know what? I'm going to be a great dad. I can't wait to be a great dad. So you have this lack of confidence in your head where it's like, man, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I going to do a good job at this? How do I have the same selflessness that my parents had? I have this world of distractions. I have this world of money. I have this world of freedom. But I can't, I lack the focus on the mission that they had. The world is my oyster with all these resources and all these chat GPTs, Groks of the world. I can look up anything that I want. I have all the resources in the world that I want. I have a sister. I have a sister-in-law that both have kids. I have my parents. I have my in-laws. I have all this family that have kids, that have had experience, and they can all shed this stuff on me. They can all help. They can all feed me. They can all house me. They can all do all these things that I don't think my parents had, or a lot of people that I know did not have. So am I prepared for this mission the same way they are? Who's better prepared? So who's better off? The person that has all these distractions and may lack a little bit confidence, but they have, the world of resources, or the person that's just saying it's going to work out. And honestly, I kind of have my money on the person that says it's just going to work out. It's going to work out, and we're just going to do what we got to do with what we got to do it with. Because all these resources, all this knowledge bank, is you just start running into too much data. You run into this girl over here on Instagram saying, oh, you should bottle feed and then pump and then change. And then you got this person on TikTok saying, well, you know what? If you pump, then you're going to lose milk on when you feed. And there's just so much shit that just starts colliding with one another. So all of this stuff, where it's just shook my confidence, honestly, in that first kind of week or so. First couple of days, honestly. When I made it to that pediatrician appointment, and I looked around, I for sure thought, you know what, fuck it. If they can do it, I can do it. Next thing you know, we go into the doctor's office. They have you strip the baby naked down to take its weight and height. Baby takes a shit all over the fucking scale. Pees all over the scale. And the nurse is standing there perfectly like, yeah, this happens. And you're freaking out, right? Because now this baby's freaking out. His baby's crying bloody murder. My wife, the mom, is in the room filling out the same form 30 million times. I'm taking this baby naked through the hallways, carrying her like a fucking football. I go into the room. I'm trying to change her. This baby starts crying. I start crying. The mom starts crying. And you just reach this point of just like, holy shit. Holy shit. Does this get better? Does this get better? Or do you just get kind of numb to it? Do you just get better at it? Or do you truly just get this sense of confidence of like, fuck it, I got this? But truly, the breakdown was honestly half the battle. It was great. It was great. And don't get me wrong, has there been a couple other breakdowns since then? Oh my gosh, a ton. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is you have this kid in your hands. And even though you may not be destined where you think you're going to make them, you're going to be the best father ever or any of that stuff, you still want to devote what you have to give this kid the necessary life, that you feel that you want to give it. What does that involve? Does that involve money? Does that involve time? Does that involve, people around her? How do you do all that? You have to watch this kid. You also have to, watch after, not watch after your wife, but you have to also support your wife. Okay, how do you support yourself in the meantime? Are you in good health? Are you eating good? Is she eating good? Is the house all right? Have you taken care of your taxes? And all this shit kind of stacks up, and you just start feeling this sense of like, bro, how do I do all this? How do I do all this? Is it even possible? That's why I do think you see this sense of like when dudes recently have a kid or anything like that, and they have this real push. A lot of times you see it in the NBA was when they have a kid, next thing you know, the next game, they drop like 40 points or 50 points because it's just this elation. It's like a drug. I can understand why people have 4 or 5, 6 kids. I can understand why my sister had 3 kids. Greedy ass had 2. So why couldn't she just stay with 2? Nope, I had to have 3. Why? Because I think she got this sense of like, you know what? I'm good at this. I like kids. I think I can provide these kids a good life. I'm getting better at this. It's a drug. It's a drug at the end of the day. And, someone that can appreciate a good drug is myself. But right now in this introductory phase, I'm sounding like the guy that's a little paranoid of weed. I'm like, ooh, sometimes it gets me to freak out and I get scared and sometimes I vomit. That's what I sound like right now with watching having a first kid. So after that pediatrician appointment, honestly, the big thing has honestly been try to have some sense of patience, get creative. And time is not your friend. Truly. Now, when I say this whole time is not your friend, is you try to find a rhythm and flow. You try to find a rhythm and flow. Okay, I'm going to change this baby. I'm going to hand this baby over to mom. Mom's going to hand the baby back to me. I'm going to put this baby in a swaddle and I'm going to rock them. I'm going to bop up and down. I'm going to sway side to side. Maybe I'm singing a small little tune. Do 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 do. Baby slowly falls asleep. Okay, you look at the clock. Okay, 9:44. All right, now I know. I got to walk around for 10 minutes. If I walk around for 10 minutes, this baby will be in deep sleep. And then I can put the baby down. And I put the baby down in its bassinet, and then I can walk away. You're walking around. You come back. That shit still says 9:44. And you're like, what the fuck? What the hell has happened to the last 10 minutes? Time is not really your friend. Honestly, you should just kind of throw the clock away. Because this baby does not give a fuck about your time. It does not. It's going to cry on demand when it wants something. Truly. After you get back to that birth weight, it just, when it cries, you do an action. It's like a video game when you interact with the NPC and it says, either you can feed me, either you can change me, either you can rock me or comfort me, right? Those are your four things. Did I say feed me in there? Change me? Yeah. Those are the things. And you just do that over and over and over and over again. And just like that, we've gotten to a month. I feel like an expert now. I think I might be ready for kid number 2. Now then, the big thing I wanted to cover outside of that, I think I wrote it down, right? Nope, I did not. But truly, I want to make sure I cover this for sure. Is that throughout all the complaining and the self-doubt and honestly the almost like overconfidence that I've had too, I am very grateful. I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful to take this next step in life. I'm not someone that's very good with change. I'm horrible with change. If I find a good order, if I find a good chicken sandwich order and I say, oh, you know what, Colby Jack cheese works, I'm going to order Colby Jack cheese on that Chick-fil-A sandwich every single time. I'm not going to, hey, have you tried the Polynesian sauce? It doesn't matter, bro. I get 2 Chick-fil-A sauces and that's it. Oh, what do you mean you don't have pickles? I don't have pickles, bro. It might be good. I don't have them because you know what? I have the same order. You should really try Coke Zero. It has 0 sugar. I don't care, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't know my cholesterol. I'm going to get the same order over and over and over again. I don't do good with change. Nor, honestly, and I'm going to sound a little selfish, not having a lot of free time. And that's been the 2 biggest things for me. Is that someone that I have not recently discovered. I know that I am maybe a more innately lazier person, right? I'm very mission oriented, or when it comes to helping other people, I'll put a lot of myself forward. I'll put a lot of myself forward, way more than other people will. But yeah, I've noticed it. It's very true. If you're getting married and you need some shit from me, I'm the person you call. But if I'm getting married and I need some shit from me, I wouldn't call myself because I don't do shit for me. I'm a little bit lazier on that side. I'll do shit for my wife all day, all night. I won't do it for me. I be chilling. I don't know. Maybe it's the tism in me, but I be chilling. And now you take this time allotment that you had for yourself. Okay, now you got this other human in life. That adjustment. Now you take that, couple it all with this whole journey of change, of introducing this new human to life. Okay, now you see other friends. Kristen came over the other day with their kid, and now here's this guy that I met in college when I was rushing a fraternity, and him and I are both holding our kids next to each other. This is the growth. This is the change. This is the next chapter. I guess this is what's next on the script. What would we do otherwise? I don't know. We could probably have a quite fun life. We could, but you know what? Maybe this is the ultimate mission. Is to plant a tree, have the tree grow, and maybe I'll never sit in the shade of the tree, but at least I know I planted the tree. At least that, maybe I'm not saying it's completely selfless, right? I had a kid just for the kid. I don't think I did that. But you hope to continue the process, right? The legacy of giving back to another kid, giving them a good life, setting them up for success. So they don't have to grow up and say dumb shit like Billie Eilish, huh? So that right there, I'm very grateful to have now reached this chapter in life. Now, are you guys ready for my complaining? Obviously, with the new kid, people like to come visit. And if you're listening to this and you have come visited us, don't worry, I'm not talking about you. Oh, second, how do you guys like the mustache? Huh? I've been flying through this. I didn't even realize it. Even now, after I use the bathroom and shit, and I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, bro, who is this? Who is this dude, huh? It's the new era. Honestly, wife requested it. So I said, you know what? I'll do it when I become a dad. Here we are. Honestly, I kind of look like my dad. He thought this was fake. He laughed in my face. We're in the new dad era. And in the new dad era, people like to come visit. People like to come visit the baby. People like to come visit you, see how you're doing, see how everything's all right. Now, let me go ahead and put this out there. If you come visit new parents, you need to contribute something. Because at the end of the day, my schedule does not change. I have to feed this baby, change this baby, burp this baby, put this baby to sleep, do my dishes, maybe do my wife's dishes, prepare myself food, maybe prepare my wife's food, do laundry, clean the house, run certain errands, go get groceries. You still have all that shit to do. You still do that shit every single day. Now, if you're coming over, you have to help in some type of form, fashion, or agenda item. You have to help with one of those items on the list. If you're not bringing food, you're not bringing some type of laundry detergent, toilet paper, paper towels, a tray of lasagna, maybe it's a gift, a good gift. Maybe you got some muslin blankets and pacifiers. Ooh, perfect. That we actually needed some of those. A quick note, stop buying outfits. Stop buying outfits, everyone. They're not cute. I don't want to dress my baby like some typical baby you saw in some Mickey Mouse movie. I'm dressing my baby like some of these Korean pop stars where they're wearing big pants, big hoodies. Have you not seen how my wife dresses? She ain't wearing no goddamn skirts like that. Look at me. Does it look like I'm going to dress my baby with half that shit y'all buying? Now then, going back to the time thing. If you're coming over, you need to provide food. You need to provide, maybe you're going upstairs and doing my laundry, huh? Maybe you're in the kitchen doing my dishes. You need to provide something, bro. And some of you guys have lost course of this. You have lost course of this shit. You come over and you sit there and you're just hanging out. Now, let me tell you something. I ain't trying to hang out, bro. You over here holding a baby like you holding a fucking cafeteria tray. Like, because you've never held a baby in your life. Now this baby's fussy. Now I got to calm this baby back down, put this baby to sleep. And now you just hanging out. You hanging out for an hour. Now you dip. And guess what? I still got to do all the shit that's still on my list. I got to still do all of this shit. You leave the house now. Next thing you know, I'm fucking doing dishes at 11 p.m. fucking crying on the staircase at 11:30. You need to do something. You holding this baby like a bad fucking pair of cheese sticks. Like you've never held anything in your life. Just fucking playing volleyball with them. Bro, hold that baby close to your chest. If you are having a kid in the upcoming year, go to someone's house and ask them, hey, you know what? I need you to just help me get comfortable with holding the baby. It's not that crazy of a question. It's not that crazy of a request. I would gladly do that shit. I'm not going to have you help change a diaper, right? Maybe if you're a female and it's a female, the mom thing's different. A mom's a very safe place. For a dude, fuck off. Change your own baby's diapers. But if you're coming over, you have to provide something in the equation. And with that being said, my name has been Ajay Patel. Thank you guys all again for tuning in this week. I was going to cover the whole Tilak Jewelers thing, but basically they were melting gold, part of the scheme, ripping off a bunch of old people, calling them saying, hey, the FBI is looking into you, better buy some gold and send it to this person. And then Tilak Jewelers was melting the gold in the back, helping the scam artists turn gold into actual currency. And then Tilak Jewelers would also, just melt the gold, sell the gold, obviously. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all fucked up. Fuck Tilak Jewelers. Don't worry about that. That has nothing to do with ICE. Let these raids happen as they need to happen. My name has been Ajay Patel. I truly appreciate you guys listening this week. I hope you enjoyed the Noreen episode. I hope to get some more guests on the show. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Daddy Patel. I'll see you guys next week, and goodbye.